Hey guys, and welcome back to another Lost Codex analysis and deep dive. My name is Jesse, and I'm back with Ishura again because you guys loved yesterday's reaction video with her, and watching her just gush with excitement about Ishura. Today, we're going to be doing something totally not Ishura related at all. We're going to be taking Ishura out of her element and watching the new Crossroads cinematic involving Bane and Saurfang. And whatnot. Now, for context's sake, I haven't done the scenario in game, but you have, right, Ishura?
Yeah, I did it on the PTR. I haven't done it live yet.
So she's seen everything. I know what happens in there. I'm a little bit behind in the actual gameplay in game, so I haven't actually had a chance to do it live. But I know what happens for the most part. I know the reunions that happen and who we fight and everything down there. And just to get a laugh, repeat what you said to me before we started recording about doing the scenario on the PTR.
I thought it was an inconvenience because I just wanted to get back to Nazjatar questing and Queen Ishura. I was like, I don't want to have to save Bane. Why are you doing this to me?
God damn it, Bane! You being the good guy is such an inconvenience to me right now. So just because of that, we're gonna have her join me in today's reaction and analysis. So we're gonna watch it and do as we always do, and come back and talk about it after. Ishura, are you ready?
Yes.
Alrighty. What an entrance. They all look so sad.
Thank you. Bane would have died without your aid.
I couldn't let that happen.
Nor could I. I refuse to fail him. Like I failed his father.
Oh no.
I wish I could change it all. Karen, Garrosh, Theramore. Sometimes it feels like I did everything wrong.
We all have blood on our hands.
And now, Sylvanas will come. Thunder Bluff will burn, just like Teldrassil.
Once before, you and I stood side by side on the slopes of Mount Hyjal. That world tree did not fall, because the Horde and the Alliance worked together.
Horde, Alliance. We've come to this crossroad again and again, Jaina. It always falls apart. What's different this time?
We are. I should go. Anduin will want to know that Bane is safe.
Tell your king he is not alone.
Okay. Give us a moment. We are back, guys, and oh my god, there is so much to talk about here. After breaking it down, every single scene, there is so much here. This is the mass kind of literally the crossroads of so many different story arcs and cinematics that have happened. There are so many throwbacks, so many important moments here, and we're going to try and break it down without going into the 40-minute range of a video. So we're going to try, see how well we do on that. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. So right away, we start off with the Thunder Bluff shot, and beautiful opening shot. Seeing Thunder Bluff in an in-game cinematic, really cool, awesome skybox there. And we debated for a while if this was a sunset or a sunrise, and I think we came to the conclusion that it was a sunrise, and sort of the symbolism of it being a new dawn. If it was a sunset, we had some other symbolism, but with it being a sunrise, there's the a new dawn is coming. There is a new day is coming forth here, and definitely just some beautiful, very important symbolism here. As we zoom out in a somewhere in Mulgore here, Jaina and friends. Jaina walks away immediately. Like, she doesn't even stick around. She walks away. While what's interesting is Shaw moves to help, which is just that little subtle moment. We have a lot to talk about with Shaw here. Bane, Sarfang, they look over at Thrall, and Thrall's filled with remorse. This shot right here, it struck me how similar it is to the Garrosh finale cinematic in Nagrand, with Thrall walking into the sunset and Gorehowl and Garrosh's corpse in the foreground here. We have Thrall walking away from his mistakes, walking away from his regrets, walking away from his past, and we have Jaina sort of doing the same thing. Jaina is lingering on the past here before Thrall says anything, and Thrall in that moment was as well. And we're going to talk a lot about Garrosh and Thrall here, because there's so much that should have been said in that cinematic back in Warlords of Draenor that never actually happened here. I feel like I'm talking a lot, Ishura. Sorry, if you have something, if you jump in whenever you want here. I know there's a part in the script up here that Ishura is just going to launch into. She's going to get really excited about. But this part, this is all me. Hey, Garrosh, it's all me. So we're going to keep going here.
I'm exposing myself as an Alliance player here by having nothing to say about.
Oh, wow. In come the downvotes. This part right here, we have Thrall looks to Bane. Sarfang, and Sarfang gives him that go now nod. He's looking to Sarfang for advice, while once upon a time, Sarfang, or not for advice, for permission, as if Sarfang is in charge here. He's looking for some sort of, I don't know, encouragement, or if he's looking to him as if to say what to do now. And Thrall actually has like a little look of hesitation. He sighs here, yes, Dad, right away, Dad. I'll go ahead and do that. He's not eager to approach Jaina, especially after everything that's happened. We have right here Thrall looking absolutely buff, and Jaina looking just so small, and yet it's so reversed. We have Thrall looking weak, Thrall looking tired, Thrall looking down, while Jaina is filled with this stoic, unwavering expression. Thrall looks defeated, Jaina is just present. And when we were taking notes, it was Ishura, latest Chandran, and I, there was the comment of, he's a nobody right now. He is an outcast. Sure, Thrall was once someone, but he is an outcast in the Horde, while she is the Lord Admiral of Kultiras. She is all that, and here he is just down and beaten here as he sighs.
Thank you. Bane would have died.
So
without
I
you.
consider this to be basically Thrall's version of Jaina's Thros cinematic. And what I really found interesting about this moment is, she walks away and she stares off into the distance, and she has this very hard expression, and her expression doesn't change really. She doesn't turn to look at him when he walks up to her. She's just looking forward. And it's only when he goes into his failures, what he feels he's done wrong, that she starts to look toward him. But she doesn't quite look right at him yet.
There's this moment here, and when Ishura said this is Thrall's Thros cinematic, it hit me in a jarring way. Let's back up a little here to when he first starts speaking. She says, I couldn't let that happen. It's very, I don't want to use the word cold, but she's not talking to Thrall. She's not even looking at him. I couldn't let that happen. It's very soft.
I refuse to fail him.
And talking about Garrosh and Cairn, specifically Cairn, Thrall has seen Cairn as one of his biggest failures. Even in the height of the Firelands storyline, when Thrall was ripped apart by the elements, regret over Cairn has always been up there, especially with Taretha and Garrosh. All of those has come down to this. And it's interesting is if you listen here, the music beat that plays at the beginning of the Garrosh Thrall cinematic plays right here.
Wish I could change it all.
There. Cairn drops that beat right there.
Gosh,
Garrosh, her brow furrows here. She starts to look over. And then pain kind of comes over her face. And just as she went through all the same beats with Dad and Arthas and Ronan, in her Thros cinematic, Thrall's now doing the same thing, only far less scarier and much more softer here.
And it comes to a head when he says that one line. He says, sometimes I feel like I've done everything wrong.
like I did.
And that's when she really looks at him. And, she inhales. And I think it's understanding, but it's also kinship. Because in her Thros cinematic, like Jesse said, she goes through, similar moments where she feels like she has certain people she's failed. And in this scenario, she says, it's all my fault. I failed them, all of them. And then she says, I did everything wrong. So
it's a direct line. I missed that completely. Ishura, when we were writing our notes, she jumped in excitement at this because it's a direct callback to I did everything wrong. And she is looking at him going, buddy, I just had the same thing a couple months ago with Mom, and now she's Mom in this situation. She is Catherine Proudmoore. In that same way, I just came to me now when Catherine's hugging Jaina, and Jaina looks so small, and Catherine is just embracing and hugging her. Thrall's not physically small here, but everything about his personality, who he is small right now, and she is the one being Catherine Proudmoore to him being Jaina. It's this beautiful, oh my god, there's so many paths that are crossing here. Crossroads, again, fitting title. God damn.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself in my excitement, but
that's okay.
An important part of this is that both of these characters, Thrall in this moment and Jaina before, have always thought that there's some irreconcilable difference between the Alliance and the Horde, that there's nothing that can bring them together except when they have to. And I think in this moment, when Jaina realizes Thrall has experienced the same exact feeling she has, that's just what breaks it, what makes her realize we aren't really different. We are the same.
This is a crucial moment for Jaina as well, because when Garrosh was marching on Theramore, she went to Thrall and said, help. And he said no. And so for all of this time, that relationship between Thrall and Jaina broke. And for years, even during the Garrosh Thrall finale, when Garrosh says, you made me what I am, and Thrall says, no, you chose your own destiny. Thrall should have said, I know I made you what you are, and then killed him, because everything Garrosh became was put onto him because of Thrall. And all of this time, people who've heard me rant about Garrosh in my podcasts, you know that I wanted a more satisfying ending there, and it turns out it was always there. Thrall didn't say it, but he has been feeling it the whole time. The regret has been there from the very beginning. I have done everything wrong, and it has been weighing him down. That's why he has been in exile. That's why he's chosen to live off on his own with his family. And in the same way that Jaina was off in exile at the beginning of Legion and feeling all of that regret come pouring in all at once in her comic, he's having that same moment right here, or he's had that moment several times, but now Jaina's witnessing it. This is a crucial moment for both of them, because there's painful empathy on her part. She is going, oh God, you aren't a monster. And she never thought he was a monster, but it was always sort of this disconnect there, because Garrosh did so much, and she felt like he just didn't care. It was a very powerful scene here.
And they have such parallel stories, which, you know, when I was first watching this and the reaction, I was filled with skepticism. I was like,
oh, right away.
I don't know.
You were like, how genuine are they? Like right away, she went on she put on her rogue hat, the Matthias Shaw SI7, and she was like, there's something iffy. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, my heart. And Shura's like, no, not the Horde. But when we broke it down, it's suddenly both of our eyes were open so much more that there's symbolism here. You actually pointed out at this line right here, we all have blood on our hands. Mm-hmm. Could be direct reference to what happens in the scenario, if you want to explain that quickly.
Yeah, so I'm sure by the time you've seen this, you've done the scenario. So at the end, when you find Bane, these Blood Elves teleport in and basically call her out for killing the Sunreavers. And I'm sure she's thinking about more than just that, but I think coming fresh out of that, having to just kill those Blood Elves and have them hate her for something she did before, I wouldn't be surprised if her saying, we all have blood on our hands, was her thinking about the Purge.
And whether or not you agree that the Purge was justified, you know, I can break it down in a really long-winded podcast about why, in a way, there was some justification there. In the end, she did something wrong, and she didn't see it that way for the longest time. And, you know, Thrall's now having his moment of, oh God, I messed up with Garrosh. That's a huge moment. So Jaina's like, you know what? I did too. We all have blood on our hands. Not like, yeah, you dick, you did all this. She's the first one to say, yep, I did wrong too. Even though you could argue Jaina's done a lot less bad things than other members of the Horde. It's that acceptance of both of them are coming to this full circle here. We have Thrall jump in here and say, and now Sylvanas will come. Thunder Bluff will burn.
Just like Teldrassil.
And he says, just like Teldrassil, through grit teeth. There's something there. You know, Thrall is the one, technically it was Hamul Rune Totem, but Thrall is the one who gave Sylvanas and the Forsaken a chance to join the Horde. You know, the Tauren convinced Thrall. Thrall let her in. Thrall believed her after she, you know, played the whole, the coup and the overthrowing in the Battle for Undercity back in Wrath. And again, another level of regret here, and she will come and she will burn Thunder Bluff. And it's actually kind of, you know, a little bit of color contrast here. The sun setting, this fiery orange glow on the horizon. You know, I wonder if in a couple months from now, we'll be breaking down this shot and comparing to a burning of Thunder Bluff shot and how this is a callback. I don't want to call that because that's a horrible future I don't want to go to. I don't want to see Thunder Bluff burn, but there's definitely a lot of color symbolism going on here. And Thrall says it through grit teeth. And then Jaina brings up Warcraft 3.
Before, you and I stood side by side on the slopes of Mount Hyjal.
Slopes of Mount Hyjal.
That world tree did not fall.
That world tree did not fall.
The Alliance worked together.
I like how, as she says that, they help Bane stand up in the background. And that is, you know, an opposite to falling, but it also more reflects her following comment about how because the Horde and the Alliance worked together, which, you know, is happening in the background. You have Shaw of Sarfang helping him up. And I would argue these two characters are so loyal to their respective factions, if not necessarily the current state of their factions, then at least the ideology behind their factions. You know, Sarfang with a sense of Horde honor, and Shaw, who's the spy master, has probably spent most of his life spying on Horde and trying to stop their plans. And what I pointed out is that Thrall isn't even looking. Kind of like how the same way Jaina didn't even look at him earlier on, he isn't turning around to see or to understand the point she's making. He's just staring right ahead, which I think leads into his next line when he's like, we've come to this crossroad again and again, like it always falls apart.
He's angry here. Backtracking just on the Shaw comment, because I think Shaw is one of the most fascinating characters of this expansion, like as a background character, because every cinematic he's been in, he's doing something very minor, but he's there. He has a presence. In the Battle for Dazara lore cinematic, he's helping soldiers, like he's helping someone up the stairs as they're under attack. He's in the background for so much, yet he says so little. And again, as Ishura just said, he is the spy master for SI7. He has every reason to hate the Horde to its full capacity. Not like Velen or Anduin's view on the Horde, but a proper, true... He even says when you talk to him, I will do what's right for the Alliance. I will do what is necessary and right for the Alliance every single time. I'm paraphrasing, that's not the exact quote. And yet here, he's helping Bane Bloodhoof, who he has no loyalty to his feet. And I think that's just a compelling moment that Thrall totally misses. And then he gets angry, and rightfully so. Thrall's angry here. You can see the frustration. And again, cinematics team with their emotion on someone with massive tusks. Think back to, years ago. Cinematics have come such a long way. Look at the frustration on Thrall's face here.
This crossroad again and again, Jaina.
This part's important because sorry, go ahead.
Well, there's another mirror here, and I feel like Jaina has already had all these moments. She's already come to this understanding, and she's able to help him come to it. But his line, we've come to this crossroad again and again, and always falls apart. I was like, that sounds like something she said, isn't it? And she kind of does at the beginning of Legion. She says, again and again, the Horde have proven themselves to be monsters, cowards. And, after that she says, when the Horde betrays you again, remember who warned you.
And this was right after Varian died. They obliterated Theramore, just left us to die on the broken shore. So, again, there's so much mirroring going on here. And something that I found really interesting is listen to the music beat right here. All right, at this line. Horde.
We've come to this crossroad again and again, Jaina. It always falls apart. What's different this time?
That's a very soft, different version of Anduin's theme there. And that is so important because, I might be getting the song wrong, but there's that Alliance, the Stormwind, that same music that plays when Anduin is seeing the ghost of Varian on the broken shore. In that moment, right at about 1:42.
Jaina, it always falls apart.
Right there. Thrall and Jaina have always been the advocates for peace. The third member of that category, Anduin. Varian used to bring little 12-year-old Anduin to peace summits in Theramore with Garrosh. Garrosh was just getting into a shouting match with a kid. And Anduin has always been that middle ground, which is why when Aunt Jaina kind of went off the deep end in terms of, not craziness, but in terms of her hatred for the Horde, it was so jarring to Anduin. And I found it interesting that this song's playing right here, and it's almost like he's here. Anduin has a presence here because their goals at one point in time all aligned. And even though Thrall's changed, Jaina's changed, Anduin's goals have always stayed the same. And that kind of comes into to the next line. What's different this time?
What's different this time?
She says, hand on the shoulder, hand on the arm. We are. Thrall has this soft realization as the others approach.
Anduin will want to know that Bane is safe.
I love how I don't like it, but Bane looking pained. He's holding his hip and he looks beaten, but he still salutes. He's still a good dude. And then there's this last line. Ishura, this is all yours.
Tell your king he is not alone.
He is not alone.
I didn't realize, like many lines in this cinematic, that it's a direct callback to another cinematic we've seen recently, in which, Anduin is talking with Saurfang in the stockades, and Saurfang says, I hoped you would stop her, referring to Sylvanas, and Anduin says, I can't, not alone. And this is Saurfang's reply to that. Tell your king he is not alone.
there are so many callbacks here, and for this one, we know when we saw Lost Honor at BlizzCon, a lot of people felt it was this satisfying wrap up from the Battle for Lordaeron with Anduin and Saurfang here. And it's that line where he opens the door, he goes, "I can't."
Tell your king.
And then he pauses and he turns, "Not alone." And just leaves the door open.
Alone.
And it's just, like everything's coming full circle here. This is a massive, massive full circle on a lot of things. Going back to what's different this time, that's a huge story leap for Jaina. Full circle on Jaina's arc specifically, who started off wanting peace for so long, became hateful and aggressive, and has moved back into place into who she once was. Necessary peace. The cycles of hatred have gone full circle here. The "you are not alone, tell your king you're not alone," full circle here. Garrosh and Thrall in Nagrand. The music in here, go back and watch Nagrand's cinematic finale and watch this, and there are so many parallels to Thrall and Garrosh's final encounter to what is playing here. The sunset, the colors, the music. God, there's a reason every single little detail that is put in these videos is done so with such precision and such purpose. We spent like 20 minutes debating if it was a sunrise or a sunset, and I'm sure it really doesn't matter, because if it was a sunset, well then, there must be darkness before a new dawn, and if it's a sunrise, well then a new dawn is coming. We could have made it work either way, but we spent 20 minutes debating on whether it was. We had people flying around in game looking for which way was east and west. I know, unnecessary, completely unnecessary, but it's not unnecessary because these moments are perfect, and there is so much hope filled in Jaina's face at this last. Jaina Proudmoore, the angry character who has, she left the Alliance and Legion, and then she has that sad, horribly heartbreaking storyline with her mom in Thros, and you just want to cry and hold her. And now, for the first time, and then when Derek gets back, is he the bomb? She gets angry. Now we see Jaina Proudmoore smiling. And there is a new dawn coming. There is hope coming for the Alliance and for the honorable Horde. Bad news if you're on Sylvanas' side. Guys, I think we've rambled long enough. Sure, any closing comments you wanna bring up here? Are you still skeptical?
No.
No, you're not. Of course you're not.
It makes sense now. I think that Jaina, again, revealing myself as an Alliance player, I think that she has needed someone to understand her for so long, because I feel like part of her plight has just been, she goes through these experiences that no one can really relate to or understand in the way that she's experiencing them. So I think, when she goes back home to Kul Tiras and her mother sees what's happening in Thros and she understands, and then Jaina kind of mirrors that back onto Thrall and understands what he's going through. It's so wholesome. That's the only way I can think of.
Wholesome. Oh my god, I'm so excited to see what happens next. Ishura, thank you again for joining me in this cinematic deep dive analysis. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys enjoy seeing this sort of two-person analysis and two-person breakdown? What did you guys think of the cinematic? What do you guys think of the story arcs? Did we miss something? Is there something that went way over our heads? Something as obvious as Jaina's dad's boat. What did we miss? Let us know in the comments. And I'm sure when another Azara cinematic comes out, we'll bring Ishura back to rip that apart. Meticulous detail by meticulous detail. Guys, thank you so much for joining. My name is Jesse, and I'm joined by Ishura, and we'll see you next time.